It does begin right now, gentlemen, and thank you, and welcome to Street Signs, where the sign on the street says sold, but there is one thing that could kill this real estate rally. We're going to tell you what it is. What stocks predict the markets and where they're going? Well, you'd think there wouldn't be one, but there is, and your guest knows. He is here to tell you. Plus, you want to be a Vineyard VIP? Our alternative investment series tells you how to invest in wine, and the incredible story, Mandy, of why Ronald McDonald maybe not paying his fair share in taxes.
And it's not just him, Brian. Well, one of the more notable numbers of the day, a totally misleading Dow Jones Industrial Average. It is down at the moment, but if you take away the effect of IBM, and the Dow would be 95 points higher than it is right now. Our stat of the day. Well, we've got two of them. In fact, they both point to a stronger housing market. First of all, you've got housing starts hitting a 4-year high. And secondly, mortgage applications were down, but new home purchase applications were at the highest since June. Well, let's pull it all together and get straight to Diana Oley. Diana, all signs here, I hope, are pointing to a recovery.
Absolutely, Mandy. No question, housing recovery is underway, but you have to take these very big numbers with a teeny little grain of salt. Take a look. First, on the mortgage applications. Purchase applications were up 1% week to week, and yeah, they've been up all month on these great low rates. But historically, they are 62% lower than their peak in 05 and 40% off their average. Still, of course, going up is the right direction. But now to the even bigger numbers. Total September housing starts jumped nearly 35% from a year ago. Single family up 43%, multifamily apartments up 19%, but it's the permits that are truly stunning, up 45% total from a year ago, single family up 27% and multifamily up 93%. Still, total housing starts are about half of what the normal volume is historically. Now, despite these big numbers, the Home Builders Association says just that. They say we still have a long way to go back to a fully functioning market, and in order to get there, significant challenges must still be addressed in terms of credit availability and appraisal issues. A lot more of this and all those reports posted on the Facebook page. Brian?
All right, Diana, please stick around. Your lead story today has exactly to do with what Diana was talking about, but it is the one thing that could kill off the housing recovery. It is appraisals. And since new rules went into effect, many of you are saying this part of the loan process is the most frustrating and often the most wrong. Let us bring in Joe Milkus, owner of Milkus Realty Valuation. Diana stays with us as well. Joe, a lot of people are claiming that the appraisal industry has really gone to pot the last couple of years. Your take?
Well, I can understand why people would think that, and I can understand the frustration, as I've refinanced a couple of times, and I know how critical the appraisal is. What we've seen happen is a massive change in the rules, a massive change in how we are engaged to do the appraisals. Many of the large lenders now, due to Dodd-Frank, are required to have a firewall. When they set up the firewall, it's in the form frequently of an appraisal management company. Sometimes it's in-house, sometimes it's an outside party that's an intermediary between the lender and the appraiser. And a lot of the problems have come in this process and the process of selecting appraisers. As a result of the AMCs...
Joe, sorry to interrupt, but isn't it troublesome, though, right, that you've got a willing lender and a willing borrower, and then you've got this third party that comes in and literally can scuttle the whole deal with almost no recourse on the part of either willing party?
Well, there is recourse. The recourse would be for the borrower to go drive the comps, to go see if they're truly comparable, see if that report really makes sense, does it hold water, and if it doesn't, then to write a strong letter to the lender pointing out the problems. Or for that matter, they could go hire another appraiser to take a look at it and include that in their critique. And continue to put pressure.
Sorry, but you really got to remember why these rules were put into place in the first place, because we had appraisals running rampant during the housing boom, and a lot of people blame a lot of the problems from the housing boom on appraisals, that banks could just order up any appraisal they wanted to. They could get whatever value they wanted to do refis, do cash out, pull the cash out. That's how we got into a lot of trouble. Now, it has gone a little far on the other direction. Trust me, I did a refi myself and had the appraisal overruled by some guy in Cleveland. We got to find that middle ground again, and a lot of realtors are saying you're right that a lot of their deals are being scuttled, or people are having to pay more for the house or less for the house.
Well, here's the thing, Joe. I mean, a lot of these appraisers, right, they have little experience. I believe their fees are being cut. So obviously, if you're getting less money, you're not necessarily going to get the best person for the job. It's also highly subjective. I hear that Fannie and Freddie have started doing computerized appraisals. How accurate are those, though?
Well, I think with tract homes, they may be fairly accurate, but many houses are not tract homes, and there are inconsistencies that a computer model won't pick up. I mean, you really hit it on the nose. A lot of the experienced appraisers have gotten out of the market. Quite a few have retired or have gone on to other occupations. In a lot of instances, the fees are half of what they were 5 years ago. So it's very hard to keep good people involved. And that's definitely contributed to it. And when the fees are low, you have to generate a lot more appraisals to make a living. So you don't have much time to spend on doing the report.
How do we fix this then, Joe? Do we jack up the fees again? Make it more something that people aspire to do?
Well, I would think from a borrower's perspective, what I would look at is not just how low the interest rate is, but the closing costs and whether they're paying an adequate amount to get a good appraisal, because that's going to make or break their loan. How can you do it on a regulatory basis? I would think for people to speak up on the political process and also to bring it up with their lenders and be selective on what lenders they go to.
I agree with you, Diana, and I want to address, Diana, what you were saying. I completely agree with you. They were running amok, naming their own price a number of years ago. Maybe we've gone too far the other way. So to Joe's point, what is the solution? More training, which of course then would raise prices. You see, anywhere we go, we're going to be stuck in some situation.
Well, what we need to do is it's important to have that firewall. I believe that should be there between the bank and the appraiser. But again, going to find these appraisers who are cheaper to do these, you've got to be able to jack up the prices for the appraisers a little bit so you get more people into the business, you get more experienced people. I mean, we saw a survey showing that people who are under 30, the number of appraisers is very, very small, and most appraisers are over 50. It's a question of how do we reduce this appraisal market, get the standards back the way they should be, keep a firewall, but not make it so that an appraiser can overrule or can go into a neighborhood they've never even been into, not knowing the schools, not knowing many of the comps, and perhaps even comping off a short sale or a foreclosure down the block. We need to find that middle ground between just ordering whatever you want and a complete firewall where the appraiser is not getting the real information.
Diana and Joe, thank you very much for joining us today. Well, earlier this week, we told you how house flipping is back, and so are the reality shows about it.